Yeah, 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 I love the smile in your face. I know that you got what it takes. Plus you working, ain't no breaks, yeah. You got that vibe, mama, you already know, yeah. This is the Darling Talk Show. Yeah, 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 yeah.
What's up, you guys? Welcome back to the Darling Talk Show. I am your host, Alexa Darling, and today's special episode is actually very special because I have a group here, and I have two beautiful ladies that I cannot wait for you guys to get to know them. Also, just want to put this out there. Make sure, y'all, that if you have any kids, take them to the room because this is not for kids. Okay, this conversation is gonna be very, very grown and sexy type of vibe. And I don't want y'all kids to be in the building. I mean, around y'all, whatever. So today we have our guest Alexis, and we also have the beautiful Jadeja. They're both beautiful. Okay, don't fight me, sis. Don't fight me, okay? And I've of course. I know Alexis. Me and Alexis went to school together. We went to high school. Sterling, what's up, gang, gang? We go way back, and Jadeja, I met her a couple of years back on social media as well, which is why I always say make sure you guys. It's so important to make connections, man, because you just never know what you can build with people that you meet on social media, right? So, super excited about this conversation. We're gonna be talking about surviving your 20s, as you guys already know in the title, and come on, man, like your 20s. Your 20s is a very important stage of your life, right? I think I'm 28. So, well, I'm going to be 28. I'm sorry. I'm 27, but I'm going to be 28 this year, and mentally I'm already there, I guess. But
you got about 3 months.
yes,
on your way.
I'm on my way there, but I feel like my 20s has been a roller coaster. I don't know about y'all, and we're going to get into that, but I just kind of want to discuss that, right? Like, I want to talk about what are things that we all have been through in our 20s, and how are we even like navigating our 20s? What are things that we have learned that the audience can also like, gain from? I think that all of us here are in different stages of our lives, which this is why I chose the both of you guys. Trust me, when I do this, I do it on purpose. It's very intentional, right? I'm like, okay, Alexis can talk about this. Deja can talk about this. I can talk about this. So that's why I got you guys here, and thank you for being here. So
thank you for having me.
Let's talk about it, man. What do you guys what has been the hardest thing that you guys have faced in your 20s so far? And I mean, you can first of all, Alexis, and first of all, I'm so ready for the conversation. We have to toast before we start talking. Okay, let me not even forget about the wine, which is the most important thing. All right, guys. So today we're gonna be drinking this wine right here. It is called Roy Vane, sort of sweet wine. The girls like sweet, so I was like, all right, let me be mindful and let me just get some sweet wine for them because y'all know I like my dry. But this one has 13% of alcohol, which is not bad. Okay, and we're gonna toast. So can I have y'all glasses so that we can? Oh, the color is a little different.
Raise your glasses.
Okay.
Oh, she's pouring. Yeah, okay. Let me see what type of time you on, Alexa.
I mean, y'all know I love.
We're
gonna
conversation.
Talking. That's the secret. Okay, you figured it out. That's the secret. I feel like wine just kind of just set up the mood, sets the tone for the conversation, and
it does.
All right, so who want to toast? Y'all want me to toast? Y'all want to toast?
It's your show. Go ahead.
Okay, so we're gonna toast to you ladies being on the show today. We're also gonna toast to surviving our 20s because it's rough out here, but we're gonna get through it. And thank you guys for being here. I appreciate y'all.
Yes, we're also gonna toast to Alexa being such a great host.
Oh, thank you.
And businesswoman, standing on boss stuff all year long.
Really? That means a lot.
She puts the influence and influence.
Yes,
I try, y'all. Thank you so much.
Toast to you, girl.
Okay, salud. Okay.
It's very
I
much.
like this.
It's mid sweet.
Yeah,
it's not too sweet.
It's giving.
Yeah.
It's
At
giving.
first I was like, what we drinking? But then the sweet
it
came
smelled-
let
it
the
didn't
back.
give- It didn't give sweet
Yeah.
when you smell
You
it.
can
It
you can
gives-
taste the
Yeah.
grapes in
Yeah.
it. Okay. I'm here for it.
I'm gonna just hold mine.
I love how y'all got lip gloss stains on the cups.
Mind your business. All right, y'all. So I would like for the audience to get to know you guys, of course, right? To get to know who you guys are. So, Alexis, if you want to go first and say, like, you know, who you are, what you do, you know, let us know.
Well, hi. I'm Alexis Blake. I'm from Houston, Texas. I am a local makeup artist. Look into this camera. Got you.
I was like, where are we supposed to be?
Okay, so there we go. Oh, hi. I'm Alexis Blake. I am a mobile makeup artist here in Houston, Texas. I also am the CEO, the founder of the Lex label. And under that umbrella, I do have a luxury handmade lip gloss line.
Yeah.
That unfortunately had to take a break because I am a mom now, but we are in the reconciliation and reconstruction phase. So it's coming by the summer. And I'm trying to do my little influencer thing.
Okay.
But overall, I'm in the streets, you know.
Outside.
We outside networking. I want to meet the girls. I want to meet the guys. I want to see who's doing what, because ultimately I do want to just create a safe space for curators. So,
yes, I love that.
thank you for having me.
Of
I'm glad to
course.
be here. And yeah, let's have a good conversation.
Oh, okay. All right, Jadeja, it's your turn, sis. Tell us who you are, what you do. You know,
This is
who's-
the part where I start to forget everything about who I am.
and you have done a lot, so come on,
just
you
got
can't
it at the back
forget.
of your head.
Ugh. Yeah, tell him to stop talking. Loud as hell. Okay, where am I looking at?
Just talk to us and tell us what
Well, listen, okay, I'm just trying to, make production happy. Yes, so I am Jadeja, obviously. Local to Houston. I'm not like
But where
a
you from?
local. Like I'm not. I just
Born and
moved here.
raised.
Like I just moved here like 2 years ago. So
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I'm still getting to know Houston, but I'm not leaving. Like
you do. Yeah, you love it here?
yeah, no, it's
Mhm.
definitely where it's at. Cybersecurity is like that's my thing.
Okay.
Like I've been in cybersecurity for closer to 10 years, but
Wow.
not a full 10 years, but definitely like 7-ish, seven
Yeah.
and a half. So that's
So
that-
tech girly.
Yeah,
period.
I'm a huge tech girly. Like
love
I'm
that.
as tech
Yes.
as tech girly gets.
Okay.
It don't get any more technical than
Yeah.
cybersecurity, that's for sure. And then like content creating, so like I do like modeling here and there, commercials,
Yeah.
like dabble in like the entertainment space.
Yeah.
I'm trying to get I'm working on getting more comfortable in the camera. The camera loves me, but I don't love the camera.
I can sense that energy right now,
Yeah.
and I need you to get more used to it because you're gonna be on it more.
Well, I
Um,
mean, I know that, but like I
yeah.
just be like,
And I think the thing about the
Why is everybody
camera, it can
staring
be
at me?
intimidating, but when you forget that the camera's there and just focus here with us, like,
I'm not worried about these cameras.
I mean, but in general, right?
yeah,
Like when you forget about the camera in general,
no,
it just gets easier.
It
like even
does.
like let's say when I'm by myself filming for something, and I'm talking to the camera literally by myself in the house by myself, it can kind of look crazy, but you get used to it over time.
see, that's not the part that bothers me whenever it comes to the camera. Like if I'm by myself,
You good?
flourishing.
Okay.
If I'm with other people, cool.
Ah.
But like, for instance, when I was in New York Fashion Week last year in August, my assistant, we were like on the streets of New York, and she was like, take pictures.
Yeah.
But then there was like people like looking and honking, and I was like,
Yeah, it's a little.
That's when you go
awkward.
even harder. That's when you really
no,
stick the
and she
leg
was
out.
like, that shit, and that's what she said. She was like, she hates taking pictures, but she loves when people are like complimenting her when she's taking pictures. But me, no, like I don't like that.
Just mind your
Like
business.
the
Don't
moment
just-
people start being like, "Oh, you so cute," oh that outfit, I'd be like,
Okay, that's even harder. That's when I
Yeah.
really get to.
I'd be like, "Oh my gosh, now everybody's staring
Yeah.
at me." No, it
I
makes
feel
me
you.
so uncomfortable. Like it's like it's not necessarily the attention aspect, but I think it's like who the attention is from, you know, that really just be
Gotcha.
bothering me. Like if it was like other girls who were like, yes, sis, yeah, you
Yeah.
doing your big
But
one.
sometimes it's a man on the street,
Exactly.
and they be like, "Ooh, you."
so that's
you
why I
fine."
really don't like taking like doing content like out in public
Got
because
it.
it usually is men
feel
in
you
the
on that.
street, and then I just be like,
Yeah, yeah. I
Like,
mean, I think over with time, it just. I mean, I'm at a point now in my life, baby. I can feel. I go to coffee shops. I go anywhere, film. I take my tripod with me. Put the camera. They be looking at me, and I don't care. But I think that it just with time, it's gonna.
right.
It's gonna.
And honestly, I seen someone who posted on social media. It was like a guy. He was like doing a bunch of like, you know, like day in the life, come with me to run errands, and they was like, you're a grown man setting up. And then he dropped the receipts, and he was like, this grown man having his bills paid because I set up that camera. And I said, see, when it's paying you
it's different.
It's different. It's
so
really different. It is.
So we talk about so I want this episode today to be for us to focus so much on the fact that the 20s is a rough part of our life. I know that you're 25. You're gonna be
27. You're
27. I'm 27 as well, and all of us here have gone through different experiences in life. I'm gonna be honest with you. My 20s have been rough. Okay, like rough. I mean, coming from Honduras and all these things, and trying to adapt to this country, and just growing here and becoming a woman here has been a challenge in itself. Oh, girl. Anyways, so for you, Alexis, what do you think that has been? What do you guys think that has been one of the toughest, moments, or what has been like the challenge, in your 20s so far?
For me, I feel like it's been giving myself grace, but still pushing myself to go harder. Does that make sense? So it's kind of like, this is my 20s. I need to enjoy my 20s. I need to I'm that girl in my 20s, but also I don't have to have it all together. I don't have to. It's okay. Like you're 20. That's the sweet spot when you can mess up. You're learning yourself. That's another thing. Like learning yourself. You feel like you one way, but then you wake up the next day. And you're like, I decide I want to be this. And you like this. You like this version of you. So I guess overall, I would just have to say just the continuous adaptation.
We get you, sis. No, I like this.
Just continuing of adapting to your surroundings and to the person that you're becoming every day. We're definitely editing this out, by the way, right?
You want me to do
cut that?
Sure.
I think it was cute.
I think it was cute
my
too.
grandmother
I think
is rolling over.
No, I think
I
it
used
was
to literally be in my book so hard.
I
over,
think it
vocabulary.
was authentic. People, it don't have to be serious.
Sometimes we can't pronounce words.
Well,
I do that all the time.
Baby,
I be like, how do you say
something.
this? What does this word mean? And I learned a lot of words from reading books. So I've always been like, I pronounce them the way that I
feel
like the way that I see.
And remember, yo hablo español. I mess up all the time, even on camera. I'd be like, how you say?
I wanted to drop an F-bomb so bad.
It's okay, girl. Don't worry.
So bad.
But I feel you though. I feel like in your 20s, you're trying to figure yourself out, but at the same time, you're like, no, I don't have that much time yet. I need to get my life together. And then it's like, but it's also okay. So it's like a battle, right? Of what's. So I feel you on that. What about you?
So for me, honestly, one thing that I've been struggling with is I had to mature very fast. I'm the oldest of 12. I've been living on my own before, your typical 18, those types of things. So because of that, I had a head start. So my issue, the one thing that's always been getting me is that a lot of the things that I do don't match other people's timelines. So I was 19 making 6 figures already. So then, normally people are like, oh, well, you should wait to do this. I've been traveling the world since 20, going everywhere, doing my own thing, living in the high rise, a nice luxury car, those types of things. But now that I'm at the typical 25 range where people just start getting established in their career, just start getting a place that they don't have roommates and things like that, it doesn't match up with their timeline. So whenever I'm like, oh, I think I'm going to go do this, or maybe I should think about starting a family, or, things people are like, wait, girl, you need to travel more. You need to get financially stable. You need to go to therapy. Yeah. I'm like, I've done all that.
So let me ask you this. That's good. That's so good, because has that caused you to not have many friends, or has that caused you to be or feel like I don't align with people because I'm over here and they're over here, and then a lot of times it's like a disconnect because they don't understand. Because sometimes people can be jealous of what you're doing.
That is very true.
Okay, so talk about that.
No, definitely. I think I never really understood it until I was in college. So I have line sisters, right? I'm a Zeta, and there would be times where like it was like me and my line, and like I was the only one who had like a corporate job, because again, we're in college, like again, like, you know, so I was the only one who had a corporate job at the time. And I would see how close they were to their parents. I was like, dang, y'all can call y'all mom and your dad for anything. They'd be like, ooh, like if they was like, they needed rent money or they needed extra money to go so we can make this conference, whatever, they would just call their parents up. And I'm like, must be nice.
I know,
like,
right?
You know, like, like really, it must be nice.
Yeah.
So that was like my first true indicator into that. But then as I've gotten older, I realized that like people are still figuring it out. Like,
I'm still figuring it out. Sis.
No, and I am too, but I won't say like I'm still figuring it out on like that type of level. I'm more figuring it out on like, what do I want to be known for? Yeah. Like that's my issue, because I am like this cybersecurity girl. Like I'm a true tech girl. So like, that's now, since TikTok started, like tech has been gaining like a lot of like publicity. Yeah,
nobody
like,
knew about tech before.
Nobody knew nothing about tech.
It was kind of like, girl,
nobody knew anything about tech, and so I love it. But like, so that's been like the struggles for me. But making friends, and that's partially why I moved to Houston, because whenever I was living in Tampa, I was always the token black girl. You know, like all of my coworkers were white, so whenever we would hang out outside of like work, it would be them white men with their white girlfriends, you know, and then me. It like,
and I've seen a couple of your TikTok videos that I think you still go back home and you still hang out with them. So I think
it's
you
still
have
them. And don't get me wrong, one thing that I have to give credit to them is, I don't know if it's like a cultural thing, but like you said, like there are a lot of people who are out there that are jealous of you. But like those friends that I have back home, the most dependable, down, like they will ride for you, die for you type friends. Like I could call them about literally anything and they're gonna show up for me. That's good. One thing that I've noticed since being in Houston, especially when I'm trying to find women who are like me, look like me, is like,
it's a lot of competition here.
It's a lot of competition. And then I feel like a lot of people are like in their selfish era. Like there's enough space for all of us. Like you can be the beautiful black girl who's also in corporate America who got, like, you can, we can all be that it girl. Like, you know what I'm saying? Yes. But it's one thing, Houston, it is really hard in Houston because people, it's so many of us, and I've realized that now people look at Houston as like a way to like
make
get
it.
In,
and I'm like, wait a minute, since when has that been a thing? Because Houston is not it. First of all, I've been in Houston for it's gonna be 14 years. When I moved here, everything was different. People were going to Atlanta. People were going to New York. Now Houston is the main thing, right? And for me, it's just kind of weird now. I don't like it. I want to get out sometimes. People be like, oh, but you're in the perfect city. But I also feel like there's a lot of gatekeepers here. I'm not a gatekeeper. You can come to me and ask me anything. I will give it to you, because at the end of the day, like you said, there's room for all of us. There is room. Everybody has their own different type of spice to it. You know what I mean? I cannot do what you do or how you do it, because it's not gonna be the same. And I cannot. You see what I'm saying? So it's
I ain't doing what you doing at all.
But we can all win,
right?
You know? So I think that is a struggle. I think in your 20s that you have to figure out, like, I guess your people skills. What are your thoughts on that, Alexis?
I feel like it's more. Well, I feel like, let me just start here, because I don't want to start preaching. I'm putting my mind down. But I just feel like you really have to consult God before you do anything. And I feel like as long as you put God at the forefront of what you do, like, gatekeeping doesn't matter. Like, what you know or what you don't know doesn't matter. It's more so like, what's for you is going to be for you. And as long as you put your best foot forward and you like apply your pressure, or like you even just put forth any effort to learn anything about your craft or what you want to do, I feel like God he's going to figure it out for you. Like, I feel like that's what a lot of people don't do. That's why it's a lot of gatekeeping. It's a lot of competition, because it's like, when you know that this is your purpose and this is your passion and this is what God put on your heart to do, it's easy. But I just say that it's easy, but it's for you. You gonna get what you need to get out of it.
I like that you said that. I do believe though, so that in the contrast, right? That sometimes, let's say, for example, I'm an influencer. You know that you can do this and you want to do this, right? I definitely want to. And let's say that maybe you don't know a lot about it. You want to learn more about it because that's something that you want to do and you don't know how to do it, right? Example, but you come to me to ask me a few questions about it, and I'm like, oh, no, well, I don't.
Sat down in the park that day,
you know, right? But imagine if I didn't do that. Imagine if I was like, nah, man, I don't know. Like, I'm not gonna lie to you, I don't know. I'm just. There's people out there like that who will not help you out, who will not make time for you to give you even some advice on how to do certain things, on how to start. Like, I always try to push people and inspire people. You can do it. Just do it. Because the reality about it is that you're not going to always know what you're doing. I don't know. When I started this last year, I didn't know what I was doing. I was getting on this mic talking. I don't know what I was saying. I was oversharing sometimes. I'm just like, I don't know what I'm doing, but I did it. And I started. And to see the success that he had, even though, I mean, it's still small, but I don't play about, to me, it's like, it doesn't have to be millions. Even if it's 10 people watching me, baby, that's 10 people watching me. You know what I mean? So I think that we just have to be more, you know, like you said, graceful, and also, I think making sure that we align with the right people that are going to be able to, you know what I'm saying? Like, there's a lot of, like you said, competition, and I don't think it should be. I hate that. I hate that word. I hate that word. So, I know that you're a mom. You have a beautiful baby girl. She is the cutest thing, y'all. Oh my gosh, she is, and she has so much personality that it's really Alexis. I know that's how you was. But tell me how that experience was for you. I know, you know, having a baby, you know, you in a relationship, and now you're a single mom. Like, how has that challenged you in your 20s?
It's not what I wanted my 20s to be. So, you know, growing up, I always was like, you know, when I turn 25, I'm going to do this. When I turn 23, I'm going to be doing this. When I had it all laid out. You couldn't have told me back then that I was going to be a single mama, or that I wasn't going to accomplish everything that I said that I was back then. So, at the time, you know, of course, it was not planned.
Yeah.
And we had to go to prayer about it, because it's just something that I did not want at that time. So, being a mom did two things for me. It made me have a deeper purpose, because it was like, I'm looking at my daughter every day, and it's like, what if something happened to her daughter? Like, she got me. Like, she got me. I have to make sure that I pass something down to her. Like, I need to make sure that I'm being an example that I've had several examples, but now I can control the narrative of the example that I'm setting for my daughter. So that was a big thing. And then it also put me in a mindset of embracing my femininity through my daughter. I feel like I move different now. I move different.
Like, I'm a mom now.
I'm a girl mom, and she's watching me. So, like, a lot of things I used to, like, y'all, literally, I like to dance, right? So I'll be literally twerking or something, you know, just at home. I randomly bust out, and I would literally slide to the floor when I see her, because it's like, oh, I don't want you to see me do that.
Yeah.
Like,
you catch yourself now.
Yes, and it's more so, it's a good thing. Like, I don't let people handle me a certain way. Like, I don't raise my voice in front of people like that no more. Like, it's really,
wow.
I don't know, man. It just changes you. But I did go through a little postpartum, so that kind of set me back, like, with the lip gloss and everything. But now that, like,
let's talk about the postpartum thing.
Oh Lord,
right, because
pick up
that's important. I feel like a lot of women, when they have kids, I don't have any kids, but when a lot of women have kids, I think that postpartum thing is so common, right? And not everybody talk about it. And then at the same time, I know it kind of tends to make women feel like, or like to forget about themselves, or give them a lot of like, oh, I'm not enough anymore. I'm not, who am I now? And I've never experienced it, but I have a lot of friends that have kids, and I've kind of like seen that in them, and I always be like, no, you're still a bad bitch. You still, come on, let's put some makeup on. Let's get, no, for real. Like,
that's real.
I know, like, it could be as simple as putting your makeup on and doing your hair.
That's
it. Could
it.
Change it. It could change a lot. You know? So how was that for you? Like, how did you overcome that? Or do you feel like, are you still overcoming that right now?
Well, okay. So I feel like your partner, no shade, no tea, but your partner has a lot to do with that, because, you know, like you said, you lose yourself, and like your baby's your priority, and you have all these hormones, and, you know, some days you kind of like, I look a mess, but my baby look fly. Like, that's all that matters, you know, like mentally I'm not here, but mentally I'm there. Yeah. So you just kind of roll with the punches. And for me, it was more so, I always thought I was that girl. Like, if you know me, like, pre-baby Alexis, like, this was me every time I stepped out. Absolutely. Like, it was nothing less. Yes. And then I noticed pregnancy knocked me down, but I still kept it going. And then I was just kind of out of there, to the point where I was telling myself, like, girl, you need to get it together, because this ain't you.
This ain't you.
Right. Like,
Yeah.
You got a man.
Yeah.
You got, like people looking to see you,
Yeah.
and you see yourself like losing yourself, and here you are just sitting in it. So I sat in it for a little bit, as much as I could.
Yeah.
As much as like, again, grace, and that's where I feel like grace is kind of like your biggest enemy, because you kind of give yourself too much grace. So like.
That balance. Is
Yeah, it's like I was like,
Yeah.
okay, I'm a mommy, I'm a new mommy, and then of course you have people in your ear like, girl, you just had a baby. It's like, no, like baby ain't stopping nothing. Like I'm Alexis, okay? A baby is literally, you gotta come on with the train because we moving. Like that's how I was.
Yes.
So I don't want to keep bringing, but prayer, y'all. Like really, like you really have to be like, this
God
is
is
my
good,
temple.
yeah.
Like this is. I have to take care of you. I have to take care of this in order to take care of that. So, like, you got to be the best version of yourself for your kids. So, that's really what ultimately was just like, yeah. And then I didn't want to hear nobody say nothing about, nope, I'm still that girl. Still to be that girl. Like, I let y'all get a head start, okay? So, now that she's two now. So it's been quite a journey, and even now, it's not postpartum, I don't think, but it's just you getting your feelings sometimes because you can't really move. You continuously adjusting to being a mom. So
okay,
that kind of gets you.
Okay, so let me say this, right? I know you don't have any kids, Jadasia.
No, I don't.
But
I want kids.
But okay, because I've been seeing your tweets, sis. You be like, I want a kid. I'm ready.
I'm so
get the ring first, girl. Get the ring.
Huh? Do you feel like you're ready for kids right now?
I think I am, but again, like you said, like your partner matters. So like, it's not even about whether or not I am. It's like, is like the person I'm gonna marry, are they ready? Are like
it's something they want?
Is the relationship ready?
Like,
you know what I'm saying?
We have to both.
Yeah,
want it.
like
That's
you
bad.
have to have those tough conversations. And me, I'm such like a no filter type of person. Like I sometimes I have very dark conversations. I have very deep conversations with people I just met because that's the only way that I don't know how to do small talk.
Right.
You know?
Same.
Yeah, like I don't know how to do that.
Yeah.
So like I'm okay with having tough conversations, like talking about like why do women stress having kids so early where men be like, I want to wait, but it's like y'all don't have a timeline like we got a timeline.
Okay, because baby, I'm about to be 20. I need to
start. No, but you get what I'm saying? Like, especially if you're someone who wants multiple kids. Like, I'm the oldest of 12, right?
Wow.
So I have 8 brothers and 3 sisters.
That's crazy.
So what do I look like being like, oh, I only want one child? Yeah. I come from a big family.
Yeah, sometimes you need to start ASAP.
But you get what I'm saying? So like that's what's always in the back of my mind, and that's one thing that I have learned. It kind of takes away from the things that I'm experiencing now because I'm so far in the future thinking like, okay, I need to be doing this because I want kids, I want a family, and I'm setting up my life like it keeps me going, like you know, and it takes away the grace, like, because I'm so like I need to be planning for a future for my kids, my future husband. Like that's how I've become. Like I'm like, all right, let me go ahead and get my career out the way. That's why I was 19 in corporate America, because I was like, I need to go ahead and get that out the way now, so that whenever I do hit that 25, 27 range, I've already done it.
Yes, and
I've already established myself. You know.
Yeah, and I think you're doing good. I've seen you. I've only known you for 2 years, and I've seen so much growth. I remember when I first met her, we did a photo shoot. I was the photographer behind, the photographer, and you just look so different than what you look like now. And
thanks.
I'm proud. I'm like, damn, I know, she's been on TV and stuff, and I'm just so proud, like to seeing the growth, right? And I feel like even for me, like when I think about kids, I just be like, Lord, my mom be looking at me like, girl, when are you gonna have kids? And I just be like, girl, when I'm ready. Like I'm not ready yet.
But how can you be ready for something you've never done?
So, okay, boom. Okay, I like it that you say that. Then I have my brother-in-law tell me, but sis, that means you're never going to have no kids.
Right.
Because you're never going to be ready. Because it's going to happen. And when he said that to me, something clicked. Because I was like, wow, like that was real shit. Because we sit here talking about when it's time. And sometimes I may die tomorrow, God forbid. But, you never know what can happen.
Right.
And then that's never going to happen. So I think that I'm just very mindful of the partner. I'm like, I do want to have kids and sometimes, I know you can relate to this, Alexis. Sometimes you feel like you're doing it for the right person, or you're with the right person, and people change sometimes, right? Or you just never know. And I feel like it's whatever God wants at the end of the day, because I can sit here.
It changes the dynamic.
Yeah.
I don't think anyone has never agreed with that statement.
Yeah.
Every single person who I've ever seen who have kids, they always say like a baby changes you.
And I think that a lot of times what happens is that, like, let me ask you this: did you guys ever did therapy, or he was not open to therapy?
We tried therapy, but before we could actually get to therapy, just a lot. Just
Okay, she don't want to talk about it. That's fine. You don't gotta talk about it on here.
But there we did. We were very much open to therapy because I knew that would help. But
yeah,
you know, like getting there is kind of like, oh, you know, what's your schedule? You know, it just didn't fit. So
come on, like we need to make it happen today, tomorrow.
That's fine.
Right.
I agree. I think therapy is not really talked about. I think that everybody needs therapy in your 20s. Your 20s is so traumatic. Like, when I tell you, I've gone through so many things in my 20s. I got married at 19. I got divorced at 22. Oof. Now, you know, the dating life, having overcoming daddy issues, you know, friendships, betrayals, and finding myself and understanding what I want to do. My business. It's a lot, that I'm like, I'm gonna be 30 in 2 years. I remember when I was 25. I said, I'm going to be a millionaire by 30.
It can still happen. It can happen by the end of this year, girl.
It can still happen. Absolutely. Absolutely. But I was like, I got 5 years. Now I got 2.
No,
that's a big difference.
That is.
You see what I'm saying? It's crazy how how fast time goes by. So I just be like, man, like, you just have
I was thinking about that the other day when y'all was like, you need to put together the high school reunion, whatever.
I
was like,
it's about to be 10 years. Yeah.
That hit me like a ton of bricks.
That quick. Like, we just graduated. I've been thinking I'm a teenager still sometimes, you know? So I think we
was talking about that too.
Like, I'm looking at my body change. Like, now I don't look like bro. 2 years ago, I look different than I look.
Girl,
I was skinny as hell 2 years ago.
Girl,
when I first locked my hair, I think I shared a picture yesterday on social media. I was skinnier, and I was just like, wow, I have a woman's body now. Like, I'm growing into a woman. I'm like, you know, like the other day, my titties were hurting. And I was like, my titties are growing probably because I'm not pregnant. So it's just the fact that like everything is just happening, and relax.
No, I'm still mad at you from
what I do
from the vision board party.
Oh yeah, I did a whole what's it called?
I don't know. I wasn't invited,
so that's not true.
I wasn't invited.
I probably didn't invite you. You know why? Because you never answered my text messages. So I was a little in my feelings, but
I was
basically what I did was
I was out the country, so it didn't matter.
Yes, sis, you'll be outside, and that's another thing. I don't know when
you
here.
You just gotta tell me.
But you're never here, anyways.
No, yes, huh?
We can talk about that,
I'm screaming.
See, we got some unsettled.
Yeah, y'all need to have a side conversation after this. Go to lunch or something.
Cause she be anyway. So what happened was I did a little prank that I was pregnant, and I did the whole thing with the whole
pink confetti.
Thing.
Out of all the confetti colors, she chose pink.
That was a mistake because I went to Walmart. I did Walmart pickup and they got the wrong one, so that was not my fault. But we had to use it in some way, so we did that. I said, let's prank it, and it was hilarious. Everybody believed it. Alexis was screaming, and it was so funny. I might insert it here.
See, the way I feel about pranks, I always say, like, once I started, like, getting into, like, the content creation space, I was like, I never want to be a YouTube girl because a lot of them do, like, pranks and stuff, right? I've changed my mind now. I do plan on being a YouTube girl, but not, like, again, not pranks. Because one thing that I say, and my friends and everyone always jokes about this, they always be calling me, like, a prophet. Because, like, anything that I say is going to happen, it happens. So whenever it comes to pranks, I be like, I ain't pranking about nothing serious because if I sit there and be like, oh, y'all, I'm pregnant, my ass would be pregnant by the next month. That's just how it works for me. So I'd be
pregnant
like,
right now, no, and you don't even know it.
Girl, okay, all right,
please,
now,
because
I mean, hey,
listen,
we wouldn't be mad about that.
I wouldn't be mad. I
mean, I feel like once you're in a place in your life where you are established, you're established.
Right.
You have done a lot.
It's funny though because I am, but like I still feel like
that's the mind.
I still feel like I'm not, but that's only because like I see people like. Here's the thing, and they always say like comparison is a thief of joy, right?
It is.
And it is, but like I'm very like analytical, so like I don't make decisions based off emotions. I make decisions based off like logic, right? Like I'm very realistic of things. Like I'm still delusional in some cases, but like I always bring it back.
Delusion is good.
Yeah, like I always bring it back to like, well, realistically, this can't even happen because this, right? So whenever I see other people who not to be like pocket watching or anything, but like I'm like, okay, I know they don't make as much money as me, but why does their life look different than mine?
But
you know what I'm saying?
But that's just social media. You don't know what they be going through in real life.
Right, exactly. But then I try to make sense of it. So the way that I operate, I work backwards. So like I work from the solution, like the end goal, and then I work backwards. I'm like, okay, like even whenever it comes to cooking, like I bake all the time. Like I bake from scratch.
I like cookies.
Look, no, really. Like I bake from scratch. But the way that I do that, I don't follow a recipe. I just think, okay, here's the end result of what it needs to be. What ingredients do I need to make it be that way? So then I work backwards, right? And that's how I operate in my life. But like, there are times where I'm like, yes, I'm established and I'm doing all these other things. But also, again, I be with people who are 35 and up, and I'm like, dang, you got a house and a vacation home? Like, wait, what you mean? Wait, you drive how many cars? And I'll be like, wait.
Yeah,
like,
so I think that's what I think.
But then I forget I'm only 25 and I just
that's
turned 25.
What it is. So you have to give yourself a lot of grace because you're doing amazing and where you at right now. There's a lot of people like me right now. Girl, I'm not making what you're making, but look what I'm doing, right?
Right.
But at the same time, it's like, and that's why I have to give myself grace because it's like, damn, Alexa, you don't really got that much money yet, but girl, you're making a lot happen. So imagine when that money gets here, what I'm gonna be able to do, right? So go ahead.
I'm gonna chime in. You know, we want a lot of things, right? And we feel like our life's supposed to look a certain way. But really quick, and I'm gonna be quiet.
No, don't be quiet.
Just because that's what you want, that may not be what you're prepared for. So a lot of times, I know like we want these things, and when we get them, we don't know what to do with them because we're not supposed to have them now.
That's what I was telling you. I told you earlier today. I told her earlier today.
I really feel like that because I feel like everything that I'm like, I would have fumbled the bag. Like I would have, you know what I'm saying? Because that's not what that wasn't for me then in that season. So that you say that like right now, you may not have all the money you want, but think about it. That money may hurt you. That may be the death of you. You know what I'm saying? So like, great. That's why I say grace is so important because you can't get things that you're not prepared for.
Right. But then to piggyback off that, and I learned this when moving to Houston, sometimes what you want doesn't even measure to what's made for you. Like what's, you know what I'm saying?
And we be thinking small a lot of times.
Right.
Too.
We really
think it's so small.
And the reason I say that is because right before I graduated college, I was like, okay, I want to get a new car because I was driving like a 2018 Nissan Versa, and I was like, you know, this is giving like toddler, you know, like, no, really, like it was giving like I got like a toddler, you know, like that's
like you have a toddler.
Yeah, like it wasn't fitting the aesthetic that I wanted. So then I was like, oh, like I've always wanted a Charger, right? That's the car that I always wanted. I've never actually like I've been in one because like my aunt had one at one point in time, but like that's the car that I always wanted. So finally, right, once I started to make money and everything, and I was like, I'm ready to go get this Charger. I went to go get one. I went to go get the Charger and I test drove it and I was like, this ain't enough. Like the inside was boring. It ain't have no bells and whistles. I was like, it's like the outside was giving what I wanted to give, but the inside wasn't giving what I wanted to give. So then I said, I'm gonna just wait.
That's a word. That's a word. That's a word.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah.
Like, the outside was giving.
Yeah, but you don't know what it's inside.
Exactly. And then I started realizing that was like a common theme for me. So I ended up getting like a Lexus, and you know it met all the requirements. And I was like, well, I'm so glad that I could not find what I was looking for because I was ready to buy that Charger right then and there. But I ended up getting with a Lexus. Whenever I came and moved to Houston, right before that, I was looking to buy a house in Tampa. Like I had put down, you know, my money to like reserve that lot to build the house. And then right as I had determined that I was going to move to Houston, I was on a wait list for a really long time. As soon as I determined I was going to move to Houston, they called me and said, all right, we ready. And I said, well, I don't want it now. Like, I'm moving to Houston. And then once I actually went to go see which house they were offering me, I was like, nah, I don't
have
it
more
ain't hitting
here.
the same.
Yeah.
You probably had better options
It wasn't hitting the same. So again, the outside looked good, but once I got on the inside, I was like, this is too small. Like,
okay, you know what? I'm sorry, but that's God speaking right now. I just felt the Holy Spirit just now. What you just said right now, that's a word because a lot of times we're focused so much on the outside of things, we're not knowing what's happening in the inside. And what you said earlier about, you know, sometimes we think we're ready for something. And I was telling Onyx yesterday, we're talking about this. I said, I know God has not blessed me with the way that I want to be blessed yet because I would really fumble that. Or 2 years ago, what? I've had money, and I've spent the money like crazy.
Yep.
You know, and I'm just like,
And don't know where it's at today.
girl,
Right.
I don't.
All of a sudden, you
Don't
be
know.
like, dang, maybe I shouldn't have bought that.
You start
That's
looking
it.
at receipts.
Right.
You
I
start
was like,
looking at bank
where
statements.
did
You
all this
like,
money go?
now wait a minute now.
Yes.
So I'm just like, man, listen. I just feel like at the end of the day, I don't know. Like, you just have to be patient, faithful with God, and just, because it's gonna come. This is my analogy. If you show up for yourself, if you're consistent, and if you are true to yourself, the blessing is eventually gonna come. Only if you focus in your lane. If you're focusing on somebody else, what everybody else got, and what with social media, that's very hard these days. But I feel like it's gonna happen. It's gonna come for you. It's gonna find you, because you're putting in the work. And God is always blesses those who put in the work, who focuses on themselves, who are doing the right thing. So if you're doing all those things, just wait.
Right.
And then, like, on social media, a lot of people be renting them cars and
Girl,
all
they
kinds of stuff.
probably be
No.
like, they probably be going to the damn.
That is so real.
When I
like,
hear my friends say I need to take a hiatus from social media because it's too much, it's kind of like, girl, it's not what you think it is.
right. It's
It's
really not. And I've known people, I've even dated someone who, like, they were really trying to sell their business and their lifestyle. That, like, one thing that I got into the habit of doing at one point in time was, even if I was only living that lifestyle very temporarily, I made the most of it to make it not look temporary.
Yeah,
You know what I'm saying?
that's
and
good.
yeah, so like when he would rent a car or something, he would get as much content in that car as
To
possible.
make it seem like he was.
to make it seem like
Switch outfits and everything, huh?
like, you know what I'm saying? And I've even been guilty of doing that. Like, whenever I first started doing it, I was like, oh, let me get with my jeans and my t-shirt on. Let me
Little
drive to
dress
Target
on.
in this car. Like, let me make
So you
it
can have
look
a
like
month. So you can have a month full of.
right. Let me make it look like I just been in Mexico for the past 2 months. You know, like, people be texting me like, are you home yet? I'm like, I've been in Houston this whole time.
Yeah.
Like, you know, but you know, like, and it happens. But like, I realize that, like, sometimes that gets people into the habit of creating or believing that you are living a different lifestyle. And sometimes it makes you start believing you living it. And that could be good and bad. Like, I tell my siblings all the time, like, you have to really put yourself in that life. Like, if you want to be that girl, if you have to start showing up as that girl.
Walk like that
you need to
girl.
start talking, looking, acting like that
yes.
girl. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, yes.
So, and that's how I've been operating lately. Like, I've always felt that way. Like, whenever I wanted to be a corporate girly, I started putting myself in those spaces with those corporate
Yes.
people.
Yes.
And I climbed.
yes.
I climbed up the corporate ladder, and I was like, okay, that was fun. I did that. Cool. Yeah. Then I said, I want to be that girl, you know? So then I started showing up as that girl.
Yeah.
Now I'm like in that phase where, like, I want to start stepping into, like, my wife and my mom era. So, like,
Yeah,
I'm
you wanna
starting
be
to,
the-
yeah. So now I'm
time.
starting to,
You're just
even
trying to
though
settle
I'm
down
not
now.
there at all
Yeah.
yet, like, I'm showing up as that girl. Like,
But
you know,
but you
I'm
are,
taking
though.
pride.
I think that I think you got it.
I mean, I like to think so too.
I don't know you like that, but I
It's
get
in there.
it.
It's
You have a
embedded in you
nurturing
already.
spirit
Yeah.
to
It's
where
already
you could
embedded in you.
adapt.
Definitely,
So-
definitely. But like, for instance, for me, I'm one of those type of people who believe that, like you said, once you become a mother, you do have to carry yourself a little differently,
You
right?
do.
Now, see, I didn't have an example of that in my mother, so like I had to. There are a lot of women out there who have mothered me, like a lot, because my mother didn't show up in the ways that she needed to, and I can't blame her for that. She had me when she was a teenager. I'm like,
Right.
girl, you had 4 kids by the age of 21.
Yeah.
You didn't know what you was doing, and I don't
Right.
blame her for that. I blame her for the lack of accountability in that. You know, that's what I
Right.
blame her
Yeah,
for.
because if you cannot say, you know what, I could have done
Right.
better.
Yeah.
Like, if you
Like, it
start
goes a long
saying
way.
like,
Like,
oh,
I'm
sorry,
sorry.
I was such a terrible mom. See, you're missing the point.
You victimizing
Right.
yourself.
Right,
Just take accountability,
exactly.
Yeah.
So I started looking like how these women were showing up, the way that they dressed, the way that they carried themselves, the way that they act. Like, I don't go to the club. Like, I've never been a club person. I don't drink and smoke but one thing that I do is it's the way that I dress. Like, I've always been a very, like, seductive, sensual, like the sultry type vibes. But like, I realized that after a certain point in time, I started showing a little bit too much skin. And I said, dang, do I want my daughter doing this? You know, like,
That's good.
because the harsh reality is that people treat you the way that you
look,
carry yourself.
baby.
Exactly.
Yes.
So I started realizing, like, whenever I wear my natural hair, I attracted a different type of man than whenever I had, you know, the 30 inches.
Yeah.
You know, which is crazy.
Yes.
Crazy.
Insane.
Completely different. Whenever I dress, like, you know, making them wonder. Like, it showed my body shape. It showed just enough.
You look sexy, but still,
right.
you know, you still look decent. Not
exactly.
Not,
I attracted a different type of man.
I always say you got to show one or the other. So if you're showing a little boob,
too
you
much
got to cover
here,
up the
you
legs.
Gotta cover
you're showing
up
the legs.
Exactly.
You can show a little bit of
exactly.
balance.
Exactly. and that's so real. But like
balance.
once I started like really showing up for what I want to be, I knew that it's waiting for me. Yeah. Like, because now I'm like, even though it's not there already, I'm putting myself, like, you know how people say stay ready so you ain't got to get ready?
Yes.
I took, like, that's really how I have to operate. Like, staying ready so I don't have to get ready on all types of levels. I'm like, okay, what do I need to be? Like, if I start dating someone, whoever I'm dating, I'm like, listen, we need to start going to marriage counseling, premarital counseling. Because even though we're not there yet.
Even me, like, I'm talking about with my boo about therapy already.
Exactly.
We need to go to therapy because
it's very important.
Especially because it's so important to know how to go through like the rough conversation, having that rough conversation. Sometimes, a lot of times, you don't even know how to do that with somebody else, right? Or
how
with
they
someone
receive
who's not
things,
comfortable,
right? How they receive
and
messages.
that kind of was a challenge there. So I'm like, all right, we need to do that because we can't figure out things by ourselves,
right?
We need God and we need sometimes professionals. So, man, this is so good.
That's important.
That's a big thing.
Yeah, it really
is a really
is.
big thing.
I've realized that, like, also whenever it comes to relationships, is your upbringing has a huge, so much to do with the outcome of your relationship. I've dated people. Recently, I've dated people who, like, they've grown up with both their father and their mother in the same. I'm like. But I ain't never seen my mom and my
in the same room, okay?
Like under the same roof, like been together for years. And I realized those men who have had that are way more like intentional about dating. The men who like, oh, you know, I got a bunch of siblings, but my daddy got like 3 baby mamas, and you know, he was with my mama for a short period.
They throw it off.
Right. I have mixed reviews about that.
Really?
I have mixed reviews about that.
Okay, give us your perspective.
Right, because it's been nothing but beautiful for me.
No, I agree. Some men that grew up with both parents in the household, they're very intentional because they see the model, and that's what they want to model is after their parents. And I also know maybe more than a handful of men that had their mom and their dad in the house, still married, probably just got divorced, or still married now, who have no wish to be married or have kids.
But it also depends on what that relationship looked like to them. If they see,
agreed,
but loving. They're loving. They have a close relationship. You know what I'm saying? They just don't want that. And I don't know if it's because they see the sacrifice that comes with it or what, but it's literally, you're right in what you're saying. I'm not taking away.
No,
but I'm saying I know one too many people, a couple of them that's kind of like, you don't want what your parents have? Like, that's beautiful. But I feel like also, no matter how you were brought up, like not even just social media, but the world today is just so influential and like easily influenced on what they see, and they glorify this bachelor player lifestyle. And it's like, you're going to get old one day, baby.
I know. And they think that it's cool to be by yourself. I've witnessed that as well. Oh my gosh. Previous to my relationship, I have been on I was going on so many dates. I was getting to know a lot of different men, different perspectives and different, situations. But I never really had a good relationship with my dad. So I always wanted a man that, to me, family foundation is very important. If you haven't had the best family foundation, it's going to show in your behavior. A lot of times men don't understand what they are dealing with until they get with somebody else that bring it out of them, right? Same with us women too. A lot of times we don't know what we're dealing with until we get in a healthy relationship and they're telling us, like, you know what I mean? Like, we think we just okay, and the truth is everybody got something that they're dealing with. So I think that's why it's very important for us to go to therapy. Therapy is super, super important. Therapy is like something that we should all strive for in our 20s. It's so important because I feel like, and even in beyond, right? But your 20s is like a very
tender.
Yeah, it is.
You know what I'm saying? I think even like if teenagers can go to therapy, that would be beautiful. I feel like I want to be that mom that
teenagers
I want to take my kids.
Starting at the age of 6.
No, like, after, after, maybe like even if they're 12 in high school, middle school, I want to go to therapy with my kids.
Yep.
just because it doesn't have to be something wrong with them. Like I want it to be that regular.
It's a safe space to where they can just go and talk.
You know what I'm saying? So,
but also like you mentioned a safe space. Like I've definitely seen or had relationships with people who were like taking up that parental role in my life where they did allow that safe space. Like whenever you have like that connection with
somebody,
you know, where you know not only are they going to listen to you, but they're not going to censor you either. And I feel like one thing, me and my father, like we're really close now, and we were really close growing up, but when I hit them teenage years, but that was because he was so big on like, I'm the parent, you're the child. So he was like, you're a child, what do you need respect for? And I'm like, as an adult, I'm like, no. And, you know, and he's taking accountability for that. You know, he was like, he had different upbringings, especially whenever you were like raised heavily in a church. Like they preach that stuff in the church. Like, you know, so once he started getting out of that mindset, and then he also started realizing the way that he was bringing some things that maybe my grandparents were doing to him, he realized that like
you realize it's trauma.
Yeah, it's trauma, right? So like we had to have a lot of tough conversations. And then now one thing that I lacked whenever it came to dating is that like I never had, like I've only ever seen it done like a successful marriage from like my grandparents. And I was like, oh, well, my grandparents do this, but I don't really know how or why they was doing this, because they never talked about that. Like your grandparents don't be sitting there. Exactly. They're not about to be talking to you about like their sex and relationships and issues, because they're your grandparents, you know. But once I had that relationship with my dad where like I could start talking to him, I'm like, I'm dating this guy, but like, why he don't get this or why he want me to do that? And he'd be like, baby girl, look, some men just need to feel needed. And I'm like, ooh,
you know what? Let's talk about that. Let's talk about that. Because I feel like us as minority Black women, I feel like a lot of times we see our moms do it, and we feel like we need to be, excuse my French, the boss bitches, okay?
Yeah. Right.
And one thing I had to learn, because that was when growing up, that's what I wanted to be. But when I got into a relationship, my previous relationship, it was kind of like, I don't want to do that.
Right.
Like working,
it's
like
exhausting.
I'm always gonna work and get my money, but like I want to be like a mom. I want to be a nurturer. Like I don't want to have to go and get it and figure out how we gonna live and like I want to nurture and take care of my household and my family and my man. Like I want to submit to my man.
And that has a lot to do with that. Like for sure. Like you have to be comfortable. You have to be comfortable with whoever you're dating.
Yes.
Right. You need to know that. And the previous relationship that I was in, I was like, you know, like he would give great insight, but I never knew if he was giving it because it benefited him or if it because it was beneficial for both of us. You know, so I never trusted like his intentions ever. Like I was like, you know, like you telling me to do this, but I don't know why you're telling me to do this. You know, like
so that means that you didn't trust him.
Yeah,
exactly.
And that's
to lead you. It would never work. You couldn't submit to him.
But now I'm like, I just be there. I be cooking. I was already like, you know how people say like, oh, I was gonna wash the dishes until you told me to wash the dishes.
Yeah.
Like
no, to have initiative and do it yourself.
Right.
Like, help me out.
But so I've always been like the cook, like person who wants to cook and clean and just take care of you. But I realized that I had to be, I won't say vocal, but one, you have to give men grace to a certain degree, right? And I feel like as Black women, that's where we be messing up, because we be hearing all these people say, oh, you know, you ain't, I ain't raising no man, blah, blah, blah. Yeah. And it's not raising him. Yeah. But one thing that I've learned recently is like, you got to think, who have they dated before you?
Thank you.
Right?
Thank you.
Girl.
Yes.
What did she allow before you got here?
And that's why
and that's what they're used to.
You have to train your partner.
Right.
So,
you do. You don't got to tell him the P's and Q's, but you got to let him know who you are and what you like so that he can show up for you.
That's why I like the word train instead of teach, because everybody's different, right? And you have to, in a way, like, train them to how to deal with you, because you're different than the people that they dated before you. And I found myself now having to be vocal as well of the things that I want, because I'm dealing with a man who hasn't really had the best experiences in relationships. Right. And so I have to be graceful with him, right? Like, because I know that he tries his best, but sometimes women, we can get so caught up on like, but I want more. I want it like this, that. And then some things take time sometimes, right? So I'm learning how to be patient, learning how to be graceful, learning how to be calm. And that's a challenge for me, because I want things to be now like this when I say so. And we cannot be like that. We have to be like you said, a man sometimes wants to be needed. I am very like self-sufficient. I'm so hyper independent that it's hard for me to ask. So you know what I had to do? Yesterday I was like, you know what? I'm about to ask him. I could have went and got the wine myself. I said, no, I'm gonna ask him to get it for me. I was like, can you please help me out with getting the wine for me? And he did. Went and grabbed the wine and
see, that's beautiful.
Everything. He even said, I'm gonna look for the black-owned ones so they can. Thank you. But
energy.
Right.
They want to feel needed. And I was like, you know what?
Even for little things, like the littlest things.
We just need to ask our man what we want from
one thing that I've learned that works for me is because I do struggle with asking, because
by
the time I know I need it, I've already just started doing it myself. So one thing that I've started doing whenever it comes to like dating and having, and this goes for friendships, family members, relationships, is I let them know in advance the things that would help me out. So I'm like, okay, if I have a day that I'm really in a lot of meetings, what would help me out is if you pick up, if you do this stuff, if you take my car to go put gas in it, you know, like things like that. So that now it's always at the front of his mind.
That's good.
He's always thinking about, okay, this is one of her busy days.
Yes,
I don't have to ask him at all that day. Yeah. It just happens. Yeah. You know what I'm saying?
Okay, so what you do is you bring it up to...
Right, so I bring it up in one of those tough conversations.
Okay, that's
Even
good.
with my dad. I told my dad one day, I was like, why all my friends talk to they mom or they dad once a week? Me and my dad could go like the whole month without talking, right? And be perfectly fine as long as I tell him I'm alive. But me and my daddy share location, so he knows. I'm alive, okay? And that's just how I am, and you know, because you said it take me a week. I'm like that with everybody, right? Because me, I just be like, just let me do what I'm doing. You gonna know once it's done that it's done, right? And that's how I operate. But like even with my dad, I told him I was like, I don't like the fact that like we only talk X amount of times or whatever. Now my dad will randomly text me and be like, hey baby girl, I love you and I miss you.
Aww.
And that just
so cute.
It just does it for me.
Because he's hearing it.
He's showing me that I'm on his mind, you know, like
that's
and that
important.
really and it's important even if we don't have a conversation, because I was like, I want to be closer. I told my stepmom, I was like, hey look, I don't know when it's gonna happen. I don't know when I'm gonna get married or have kids, but like I don't plan on having my biological mom at my wedding. Like, she's not even going to get an invitation, which sucks because I recently went to a wedding and my friend, she was dancing with her mom and she was just crying. She looked at her mom with so much love and admiration. And I was crying because I was like, I'll never get to experience this.
That's me with my dad.
Right?
I will never experience my dad telling me, hey, I miss you, I love
you. You know?
That's so tough.
Yes. Right. So I was like, I literally had to text my stepmom, which I don't even like calling her a stepmom, but she did come when I was like a teenager. So she's not quite like my mom, you know, like if I had grew up with her and she raised me, that would be a different story, but she really didn't have a hand in raising me. But she's a great woman. She's super nice. She's genuine, authentic. I said, look, we gonna need to hurry up and get really
get
close.
Acquainted.
Right. I said we gonna have to get really close
ASAP,
because you gonna be the maternal grandmother. Like this is who my children are going to be looking at when they say grandma. Like we gonna go to grandma for the summer, you know, like that's what they're gonna be looking for. So I said we need to go ahead and get close. And she has a daughter, you know, her first child was also a daughter, so like she's like, dang, her daughter just finally hit like her early 20s, you know, she's like 21. So my sister, and I was like, but see, like I'm older than her, obviously, so it's been a different experience. But I'm like, girl, no, we need to go ahead and get close. And I had to let her know that now she and my close friends on Instagram, and she be like, oh girl, I'm like, okay, you see me, girl, you see me. She like, get it, Jack, get it. And I'm like, yes, you know, like, but that's the type of relationships that I seen like other people have with their mother, where they was like, any problem they had, they was calling their mama. They was dating somebody new, they was calling their mama.
That's me, my mom, child.
I feel like that's why it's good to like set your reality for yourself, because even though you don't have what other, you create your community, you create your village, and I feel like that's something that's so slept on. It's like, you may not have a mom, you don't have a dad, but you got a good, you know what I'm saying? It's people that God sends your way, to fill those empty spaces.
So this day, I have a brother. He's not literally my
biological
brother. But he's older. He's in his 40s. And this man has played the role of my dad in many, many different ways when it comes to advice, when it comes to things like that. And I always say the day that I get married, he'll walk me down the aisle. Him and my mother.
That's always been a tough one.
Yeah.
Because my brother and my goddad is kind of like, y'all both want to, or like,
you got two arms.
You can create your own, like you said.
And that's what I'm saying. So like even for like the father-daughter dance, my dad passed like 2 days ago. So I was gonna do the reconciliation and you know like
your real dad? I'm sorry about that.
girl.
Oh, okay.
Child. Anyway,
All right.
so I was
We
gonna
went-
do that when I had a
Mhm.
lay. I'm like, okay, whatever. It's about time to do that. But he ended up passing away. So I was like, okay. So now I got to figure out if I'm gonna go by myself or my brother or
You
my
gotta think about
uncle.
those things. That's crazy.
But I have I have options now.
Right.
So it's like it's not like I want these things and I don't
Right.
have them. Like
But look
God
at that.
knew.
You have options.
You know what I'm saying? Like I can
Right.
say, hey, bro, hey, Unc, like, hey, and these people will literally, no matter where they
Say
are, they're
yes.
gonna come
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
get that date to
I
walk
love
me down
that.
the aisle.
Right.
But really, I think I'm gonna go sit solo because like it's gonna be, and then he can just stand up. You know,
All
I
right,
don't
y'all.
know.
I hate that I have to cut this.
Oh no,
Because
we
it's
got
been, I don't know how long we have. It's been up over an hour, I believe.
Dang, that's crazy.
But this has been a great conversation.
Mhm.
I don't know. This might be a part one, part two type of episode. I don't know.
Definitely
I
a
think
part
we'll
two.
move on.
Right.
But I just want to say thank you guys for coming. I thank you for your transparency. Thank you for sharing, some of the things that are so important for y'all. And I know that the audience would receive a lot of what we had this conversation because just being in your 20s and just life in general is so hard. And it can be very challenging that sometimes we don't even know how to navigate it by ourselves. And having a community of people, friends, and all these things is so important because you can't do this alone.
Right.
So thank you, Alexis. Thank you, Jadeja. Hopefully we can do more of these, these conversations and stuff. And y'all, thank you for tuning in. I mean, this
It's
is
gonna be
good.
a part
this
two,
is
y'all.
the
Right.
first-
We
It's
just
gonna be
getting
a part
started.
this is the first, group discussion thing. So I didn't know what to expect. I freestyled today, by the way. And it was good. So thank you guys for tuning in, and I will see you guys on my next. Oh wait, before that, tell the cameras where you want them to meet. Not meet you.
Follow us.
Follow. I'm a little lit. Oh yes. Go ahead. Tell them first.
Well, I feel like y'all ain't drunk enough, but
It takes a lot to get me
I
drunk.
did, but go ahead,
based
boo.
off
Tell
my
them where
experience,
they can find you at.
Okay, well, you can find me at It's Jadeja on all social media platforms. Literally just my first name because, well, it's
just unique. Period.
It's Jadeja, right? Because I'm always like, like, what's your name? It's Jadeja.
That's
Like,
cute.
so
That's cute. I
I'm
like
like,
that.
I say it so much, but now
That's
whenever I
cute.
have to actually verbally say it, I'm like, it's Jadeja. Like, like
it's
right, like it's Jadeja.
That's cute. That's cute. What about you, Alexis? Tell them
I'm the LexLabel.htx. So y'all can hit me up.
Yeah, I was
Alright.
stalking.
Oh,
your
and then
social
on
media
TikTok,
the
me and
other
my baby, we have a TikTok together. So it's Life with Lex and Lane.
And they are so cute. They are so.
We
That
like
baby
little
is just
mom
like her.
content. All the
Mommy.
regular moms out there.
That's
Hello.
beautiful.
So cute. All right,
we
y'all.
are.
So let's rate this wine. How do you guys feel about it? Deja, I don't think you really sipped that much, but I know
I
we
did.
At
Look,
all.
I told y'all I'm not like a drinker for real. Like I could go out and drink just one glass the entire night. Like that's how I am. But it was good. I liked it. I liked
What
the
do
balance.
you rate it? 1 to 10.
I was gonna say 7, but statistically,
say 7.
everyone picks 7 as their safe answer.
Really?
Yeah, it's like the most.
I didn't know that.
Yeah,
She's a number
statistically,
girl. I
people are
trust
always
her.
gonna say.
Cybersecurity. Okay.
Statistically,
I
people are
trust
always
her.
gonna say 7, so I always feel awkward whenever I say 7 because I'm like, dang, like that's not a true rating. So I'll give it like a 8.3.
Okay. 3. All right.
Yeah.
Cool.
Okay.
What about you, boo?
Um,
So particular.
I like 3s.
I would give it. I would say about a good 8. A
Yeah.
good 8.
Okay.
We can go 8.5. We can go
Okay.
8.5.
I give it a 10.
It's,
I think it was. It's a 10 for me because
It's drier for you.
it's like the perfect mix of
It
sweet
is.
and dry.
It is.
Perfect. So I like it.
I enjoyed it,
Yeah.
and the alcohol volume is pretty high too, and I appreciate
It's like
that.
13%, right?
I
It's still low.
13.
I've done 18.
What is high?
13 for
18%.
wine is pretty decent.
I mean,
I
have
feel like
tried
you see a lot of
18?
11s. I have, and
One glass.
let me tell
done.
y'all. Oh, we gonna talk about that later. Okay,
All
okay.
All right, y'all. Thank you guys for tuning in, and I'll see you guys on the next episode of the Darling Talk Show.
That you
Bye.
got what it takes, plus you working, ain't no breaks, yeah. You got that vibe, mama, you already know, yeah. This is the Darling Talk Show. Yeah, 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 yeah.